So welcome to day 2 of week 2. So I was thinking about the theme actually. So the theme of this week is a flatter, stronger belly from the inside out. And then I was thinking about it from the inside out. So that's what we have been looking at over the past few days is, what are the things that we're putting into our bodies? And how can we make our gut stronger? And I was just thinking of that link with the immune system, 80% of the immune system being in the gut. Just so important that we're taking care of that for our optimal health, and then also for the health of those that we look after as well, if any of us have children. Just doing as much as we can to support our own gut flora and then the gut flora of our kids. And then I was thinking, so no matter really how many ab curl-ups that you do and core workouts you do, if you are kind of struggling on the inside, so if you're getting the feedback of I am bloated, I'm congested, I'm constipated, or the opposite, I have diarrhea, if there's things that are going on with your digestive health, it's almost like you're just fighting a losing battle if you're just looking at what's going on, just with the movement from the outside. So it feels really nice that we're marrying the two and just looking a little bit at both. So yeah, and then I wrote down feedback. So that's what it is. So bloating, and I know that was one of your things, Lucy, was bloating for many of us. It's feedback, isn't it? And the whole thing of this work is about how can we tune into the feedback of our bodies. So it's your body telling you, hello, something just isn't quite right here. There's another way that you can support me. So whether it is just, can we look at what foods I'm eating, or can we look at how much time I'm taking over digesting? Or am I just in like a stressed state all of the time, so my body isn't even able to digest the amazing foods that I'm putting in? And actually that was something else that I remember hearing, that you could be eating the most amazing foods, but your body isn't able to digest and assimilate all of that information because you're in a sympathetic nervous system. So we need to be in this calm parasympathetic nervous system to be able to absorb all of the information from the food that we eat. So we're going to start with increasing proprioception of our gut, and then we are going to tone the abdominals, because I know that's always a thing. We always want to have strong abdominals. You know by now that the abdominals, it's not the whole picture. So throughout the next few weeks, we're going to be looking beyond the abdominals, but we'll start with the abdominals today. So let's just start by noticing our gut, our belly, this area as we're standing. So, actually, if you want to, you can just touch your gut, touch your torso, and just take a moment to think, okay, how are you? This part of the body. How are you doing today? Are you happy with what I've put inside of you? Are you feeling that there's a flow? Have you got energy? Are you feeling sluggish? Are you feeling congested? Or somewhere in between? So just noticing status quo of gut. And even just that touch, that proprioception, that awareness of touch. So how does it feel? Does it feel like it's distended? Does it feel like it's quite kind of flat and close to the body? So just noticing current status quo of kind of belly area. And then we're going to improve our awareness of this area, improve proprioception. So can we just start by just tapping? If you have your balls, your Franklin Method balls, feel free to pick those up and use those to tap. Entirely up to you. Maybe I might use mine. Yeah. So first of all, just tapping everywhere around your belly. So no particular pattern to begin with. Just so we can recap, so what even is the digestive system? We've got the mouth, we've got the throat, the esophagus comes down into the stomach. So let's come up to the stomach. So that's where the ribs are, and kind of where the bottom of your bust is, that will be your stomach. And that's the first point of contact after the food has gone down the esophagus. So it starts to be processed in here. And then if you come a little bit more central and obviously be a little bit gentle with yourself, we start to meet the small intestine. And that's quite central. So it starts off quite high and then it comes down. You've got meters and meters of meters. Can you imagine that inside your body? Meters and meters and meters of small intestine. So imagine that we're improving communication between brain and small intestine. And then the small intestine, it weaves into the colon. So if you come over to your right hip bone, this is where your cecum is. So that's the kind of bottom part of the colon. You can tap around there. And it sits into this pelvic half. I'm going to show you a little bit later. And it sits in front of the SI joint. So if you have issues with this part of the colon, it can influence your SI joint, which is this area here in the pelvis and lower back. And then we're going to tap up. So we're going to start to slowly tap up the ascending colon. So the fecal matter comes up here, the ascending colon. So can you imagine that? You've got this lovely long kind of flexible tube inside of your body. And then it comes across the top. So this is the transverse colon. It's almost like a picture frame for the small intestine. So it comes across the top here. And then it comes down. So we come down the descending colon into the left pelvic half. And then it goes more central. And then if we just kind of tap here at the front and the back, and then you've got your rectum and your anus. Okay, and then we'll bring arms down. Take a moment to notice self. Notice breath, notice posture, notice belly. Now, what is super interesting is that your gut is also known as your enteric brain or your enteric nervous system. So you have more neurons in your gut than you do in the whole of your spinal cord. And your enteric brain has more neurons than the whole nervous system of a cat. Can you imagine that? So you don't just think with your head, you literally think with your gut. So this is your gut instinct, your intuition. And the homeostasis of your gut is constantly feeding back and feeding forwards to your brain and to the rest of your body. I just find that absolutely fascinating. So another reason why really finding that beautiful homeostasis of the gut is just super, super important. So let's come down onto our mats, onto your back. You can have a head cushion if you need one underneath your head. And we're going to start with a few little pelvic tilts. So the feet are about hip width apart. We're lying down, make sure that you feel comfortable. And then when you're ready, we're just going to roll the pelvis towards us and then roll the pelvis back to its kind of start position, really. So we're going to roll the pelvis towards us. That's where we lift the pubic bone up and then roll the pelvis away. Now, if it is comfortable, not only do I want you to roll the pelvis towards as much as you can, roll it away from you so you actually start to arch the back and you kind of stick your belly out a little bit. So you roll the pelvis towards you and you lift the pubic bone. And then you roll the pelvis away from you and you drop the pubic bone. So it's almost like we're scrunching up the colon and the small intestine and the stomach. And then we're giving them space as we arch. So they can stretch, they can lengthen, they can have space. So we roll the pelvis towards. And then away, away, away. Just 2 or 3 more. So obviously we're moving your bones. We're creating more freedom in the joints of the pelvis and the lower back. We're going to be involving the pelvic floor and the abdominals, but you're also exercising your digestive system. When you've finished off this last one, just rest back in your start position, interlace your fingers and take your hands behind your head. And first of all, we'll just keep the pelvis in this alignment as we come into a curl up. So now we're going to nod the head, lift the neck, lift the ribs, and you can even imagine lifting the stomach. and then slowly uncurling back down. So we nod the head, lift the head, roll up through the neck, roll up through the ribs. Perhaps you can have a sense of peeling the back of the stomach away from the floor and then rolling all the way back down. Your organs need movement and flexibility just like your muscles and your joints do. Okay, now the next one, we're going to combine the two movements. So we're going to come into the curl up, then we roll the pelvis towards us and then away from us 4 times before we uncurl. So let's nod the head and curl up. Curl up, curl up, curl up as high as you can. And now roll the pelvis towards you and roll the pelvis away from you. Roll it towards you, roll it away from you. Twice more, roll it towards you. If your back doesn't like it when you roll away, that's fine, just leave that little bit out. And when you think you've done this about 4 times, settle the pelvis back into its start position and then we will uncurl. We're going to repeat that a second time through. Now we're nodding the head, curling up, perhaps a little bit higher this time. Roll the pelvis towards and away, and towards and away. And you can probably start to feel your abdominal muscles waking up. So you're mobilizing the digestive system, mobilizing the joints, and strengthening your muscles. When you've done 4 tilts, you can roll back down. Now we repeat this with one leg up in a single knee lift. So the leg stays where it is, there's no movement of the leg, it just comes up into this right angle. We curl up as high as we can. And now the same thing, tilt the pelvis towards you and then away from you 4 times. Try not to push into the supporting foot too much. Can you use your abdominals? And can you use your pelvic floor to create this movement? And when you've done that 4 times, 4 tilts, lower the foot, uncurl. Repeat with the other leg. Nod the head, curl up. Single knee lift. The leg stays still and your pelvis and your digestive system are moving around the leg. Four little tilts in both directions. And then you settle back into your start position, lower the leg and uncurl. That one's quite a challenge. So if that's enough, that level, stick to that and do another set. If you feel that you can go a little bit more challenging, we'll repeat but with both legs up in a double knee lift. So let's fold the legs up one at a time. We're going to bring the legs together if you're lifting both legs. And then we nod the head and curl up, curl up, curl up. Can you roll your pelvis towards you a little bit? And then just a little bit away from you, not much. Towards you, and then away from you. Towards you, and away from you. It's a small movement. Towards you, away from you. When you've done that 4 times, lower your feet one at a time, and uncurl. Let's try that one last time. So fold the legs up, connect the knees, nod your head and curl up, curl up, curl up. And then 4 small pelvic tilts in both directions. Feel the pelvic floor working as you tuck the pelvis and widening as you arch the back. And then lower your feet. Uncurl. We're going to stretch the arms out to the side. Bring your feet and knees together. And just move into a couple of hip rolls. Allowing your knees to roll one way and the head to roll the other way. So you may feel a bit of a stretch in the abdomen. You may feel the joints kind of clunking and clicking. And you may be able to have a sense of your digestive system getting this lovely twist and this lovely length. Now, if you're comfortable doing this movement, I want you to roll your legs to the left and keep them there. Take both of your hands behind your head and come into 4 curl-ups with your legs in this twist. So we now nod the head and curl up as high as we can, and then slowly uncurl. Let's come up a little bit higher on the next one. So nod the head, curl up, curl up, curl up, curl up, curl up, and slowly uncurl. Nod the head, curl up, curl up, curl up, a little bit higher, a little bit higher, a little bit higher. And last one. So fantastic for your waist, as you can imagine. And then we'll roll the legs back through the middle over to the other side. And then same thing again on the other side, 4 curl-ups. Nod the head and curl up, curl up, curl up. And then uncurl. Nod the head, curl up, curl up, curl up, a little bit higher. Now just see if you can keep your elbows relatively wide and head really heavy in your hands. I wonder if your face, your neck and your jaw can be any more relaxed. Well done, everyone. When you think you've done 4 on both sides, roll over onto that side and come up onto your hands and knees. Well done. So you should probably be feeling a little bit warmer and more aware of ab area. Now we have hands under shoulders, legs together and toes tucked underneath you. This first exercise, we want the spine to be beautifully long. So it's not arched, it's not curved, it's just kind of lengthened. Your hand should be under your shoulders as opposed to too far in front of you. And as soon as you're ready, you push into the toes, you push into the hands, and you're going to lift your knees 1/2 inch off the ground, so barely at all. Just 1/2 inch off the ground. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then lower. And then repeat, push into hands and toes and lift. Hold 5, 4, keep breathing. 2, 1, and lower. Again, pushing down, lifting up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and lower. Last one, lifting up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and rest. The next variation, we just roll up into a cat. So the pelvis is tucked, the spine is curved, the chin is tucked in, but the body weight is still forwards. And we're going to repeat here. So we push into hands and feet and lift up. Keep creating that curve through the spine. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and lower. And again, lifting up. And 5. Can you tuck your pelvis anymore? 2, 1, lower. Again, lifting up. Keep tucking the pelvis, keep nodding the head. 3, 2, 1, and lower. And last one, lifting up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and lower. Keep the toes tucked underneath you. Walk your hands a little further forwards, and we're going to lift into downward dog if you're happy with this. Otherwise, just come up to standing. And it's sometimes quite nice to walk through the feet. That feels really nice, that kind of march through the feet. You can try that. Let's walk feet in towards hands. Take a moment to hang at the bottom and breathe and relax. And then slowly roll all the way up to standing. So you're rolling up through the pelvis. You're rolling the colon up. the small intestine, the stomach. Lovely, and coming all the way up to standing. And noticing self. Notice posture. Notice temperature. Okay, so they were relatively static movements. We're now going to really get our digestive system moving. So I want you to bend your knees a little bit and just tuck your pelvis underneath you. So from the side it looks like this, and then stick your butt out. So you tuck and arch and tuck and arch. And then we'll go side to side. So now it's going to go right, left, and right, left. Then we bring it into a circle. So we'll do 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then reverse 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Can you figure 8? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then reverse 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So that's the dance. So we've got 8 pelvic tilts, 8 side to side, 4 circles one way, 4 in reverse, and then figure 8, and then figure 8, okay? And the idea is just to let go and to have fun and to really get your digestive system moving. So 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Go side to side. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then reverse 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Figure 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. Can you reverse it? 6, 7. We'll go from the top. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Side to side. They're really kind of moving and working the colons. Circle 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Reverse 6, 7. Figure 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. Reverse 5, 6. Last time from the top. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3. Lovely. 4. Circle 1, 2. So how much can your digestive system move? 2 and 3. Into your figure 8. And 3. And now reverse. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well done. Coming all the way back up to standing. That looked fun. Okay. So I just want you to stand and to notice self and to breathe while I just give you a little visual aid of what the colon looks like. So this is your lovely pelvis and spine. So pretty lifelike size, maybe a little bit small. And the colon, it sits in here. So it sits in the pelvic half in front of that SI joint. And then it comes up to here. So it literally attaches onto your ribs, actually. And then it makes a little turn and it continues into the transverse colon, attaching onto the ribs again, and then makes another turn and comes down and continues into the descending colon, sits into that pelvic half, and then goes back through there and finishes with your rectum and your anus. So it's really, really, really huge. So its job is, I guess, it's final nutrients absorption. However, most of that happens in the small intestine. It's absorption of water. So that's why if you're constipated, it's a really good indication that you're not drinking enough water, that you're a little bit dehydrated. So its job is to absorb water, and then it's to pass that kind of fecal matter through, so then it eventually leaves the body. So we're going to give it a helping hand today by giving it a stretch. So let's start by just embodying, feeling our right colon, so the right side of our colon. So just touch the right pelvic half. It lives on the inside of the pelvic half. it literally sits onto your iliacus, which is part of the psoas. So we'll look at that another time. So it sits into there, and then it comes up to your ribs on this side. So I'm going to keep one hand down just in front of the hip bone, and the other hand is going to come up to just below my ribs. And I'm thinking, okay, my ascending colon lives there. And now let's side stretch over. So can you imagine that that side of the colon can lengthen, 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 and then it relatively kind of recoils and shortens. So it lengthens, 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 and then recoils to come back. Let's let it stretch, and then it returns. So we not only want flexibility in our joints and muscles, we need flexibility in our organs for them to be able to function properly. So maybe a nice image in your yoga classes, in your gym workouts. Can you give your digestive system a workout? Okay, now let's stay over on this next one. Let's hold the stretch and just take 3 deep breaths. Every time you breathe out, your colon can lengthen a little bit more. Last one. Let's come all the way up. Now this leg is going to come behind us, so I'm staying with my right leg that I'm working on. It's coming behind me. We'll feel a little bit of a hip flexor stretch. Turn this leg in slightly, which feels a little bit awkward. Lift the same arm up, so it's my right leg behind me, my right arm in the air, and now side bend over. So you're lengthening your psoas, or the iliopsoas, and you're lengthening your colon. Take a couple of deep breaths. Every time you breathe out, perhaps you can just allow it to lengthen and give a little bit more. And then we'll bring the arm down, the spine up, bring both feet underneath you. And now just take a moment to notice, how do you feel through the right side of your body compared to the left? That feels hugely different for me. I don't think I've ever quite had this feeling before, actually. I feel so lifted through my right side. I feel like what I imagine those really skinny people feel like, you know, when they've got very long legs, like you look at these lovely long-legged people and you think, that must feel nice to have such long legs. That's what it feels like. It feels like I've got super long legs that come all the way up to here right now. I wonder if anyone else is experiencing that as well. Just feel really lifted. This would have been a lovely feeling in a ballet class, as opposed to lifting with tension, just having this inherent sense of lift. Okay, let's try the other side. So we're going to touch the inside of the hip bone with one hand, and then the bottom of the ribs with the other. And then we allow the descending colon to lengthen, and then to shorten. To lengthen and shorten. And lengthen. So isn't that interesting that we had more feedback about posture and lift just from embodying an organ? Super cool. And we'll stay over on this next one and just hold it for 3 breaths. Every time you breathe out, your diaphragm lifts up a little bit more. Perhaps you can imagine your colon just lengthening a little bit more. So this descending colon, where the fecal matter will be moving down, is lengthening, 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 creating space for that flow. Let's slowly come up. And then we'll take the leg behind, turn it in a little bit, lift the arm up, and then side bend over. So we're giving the ribs a stretch, the spine a stretch, the lats, the QL, the psoas. But we're giving your stomach more space to do its job. We're giving your descending colon more space to do its job. One more deep breath. And coming all the way up, arm down, spine up, leg underneath you. And just give yourself a moment for your nervous system to really make a new memory with how you're feeling right now. I'd be interested to hear from all of you, but Babs actually, because I know one of your goals is to really be on your femur heads. And that's something I'm really experiencing. I feel so on my femur heads, so on my legs instead of, bottom sticking out. So just take a moment to scan your body and notice, how does my gut feel? You can even just touch your belly, notice, does it feel any different to how it felt half an hour ago? Any firmer, any flatter? Are you any more aware of it? How does your pelvis feel? For me, it just feels much more grounded. I'm super aware of its position. And I feel like my legs are underneath me. So the consciousness of the colon can be to do with letting go. So sometimes if we have a digestive issue that we don't let go, that we're constipated, it can be to do with an emotional not wanting to let go as well. So I'd like us to take a little walk around the room and just have a sense that with each step, your colon is getting a stretch on one side and it's kind of compressing a little bit on the other side. So you're literally exercising your colon with every single step that you take. Within the digestive system, we have this movement called peristalsis. So that's where the organs kind of contract anyway to help the flow. But you can imagine that more movement in your life, in your daily life, is going to really support that peristalsis. Okay, and then just coming back. So I want you to notice how supported you feel from these two pillars of your colon, and perhaps how grounded you feel. And then I want you to almost cast your mind forwards to the next meal that you're going to be putting into your body. I think it takes about 16 hours for us to fully digest. So once it kind of goes in one end and comes out the other end, it's about 16 hours. But just have a sense of the next meal that you're going to be gifting your body or giving your body, and how that is going to be received by your digestive system. And then how that's going to inform everything about you. I just love that Lucy posted that photo of her breakfast this morning. It feels like that first meal of the day is so important for setting us up. And that can often be the trickiest one, can't it? I know with me, I had porridge this morning, which I love to do, and it's really good for me. But I know that if I can have superhuman breakfast, it's just a different start to the day. Oh, lovely. I'm going to read some of these comments. Sienna, well, that's lovely. Feel so light and supported, like I could stand here all day like this. Yeah, Angela, that's so nice. Babs posted something in the Facebook group about sitting on sitting bones. So for those of us that have to do work on computers, and actually, when we're sitting down and eating, having a sense of really being on our sitting bones so that our organs have space to function as they like to. I think you had another point there. Oh, the other one, Babs, was not just jumping up when you've got that last mouthful in your mouth. I'm so guilty of that. So I've just finished my dinner, I'm still eating, and I'm jumping up to wash up or whatever. But it's how can we be more present with our food? And sometimes we're not alone when we're eating. Some of us have little ones running around, or you might be eating food on a quick lunch break. But how can I be present with my food as if I'm being present with a really good friend, even though I might have other things going on as well? I'd like us to, that would be a nice focus. Yeah, I really love that. So hip joints found easier to sway and move underneath me. Yeah, that's really nice. How are you getting on with the, has anybody looked through the document that I've sent to you? Felt so much more focused and energetic after superhuman breakfast. Absolutely. So I've sent you all a really lovely document I had some help with. Jane helped me with it, and a lovely man in India helped me with it. And it's just got lots of three breakfast ideas, about 3 lunch ideas, and 3 evening meal ideas, just inspiration, and then a shopping list. Because for me, my vision is just to really up my game with food, because I love it and I know what a difference it makes to me. But for us to have this community where we're all doing it, and we're all kind of looking out for each other and spurring each other on. Because seeing Lucy's meal this morning, it's like, oh, I wish I'd had that, and I will definitely be having that tomorrow morning. I feel like it's so nice to have this positive influence of each other. So thank you so much, everyone, for today. Enjoy the documents, and make sure you go and have a look at it if you haven't yet, because a lot of love went into that. So it'd be nice if we can start to use all of the info that's in that. And yeah, have a fab day and a fab week. There's going to be a new workout uploaded today. So it's going to be a banding. Was it a banding? Yes, it was a banding workout I'm uploading today. So if anybody doesn't have their bands, make sure that you are getting them very, very soon, because we're going to start to use the balls and the bands much more. Oh, that's good. Yeah, I think it should be really helpful, Lucy. Oh yeah, thank you all, everyone. Have a fab day. I'll speak to you soon.